We're going to now bring in Chris Swecker, former assistant FBI director. Sir, your thoughts on this horrible tragedy?
Yeah, beyond tragic. I mean, this is not the first time we've seen someone target the most vulnerable of our population, as Trey Gowdy pointed out, our children, young children. I do school security assessments and church security assessments, and your worst nightmare is the point in the day when, if there is one, where they're all gathered in one place. Because if they're in their classrooms, they can be sealed off, preferably, ideally with one push of an access control button, you can lock them down. But in a situation like this, they are extremely vulnerable. And it appears that this person came from around the side of the building to fire in from the side, which gives him the best field of fire, if you will, which is, again, that takes a special kind of evil to do this sort of thing. I packed off or watched my 9 grandkids go off to school on Monday, and this is your worst nightmare as a parent, and we pray for those families. But this is, another one of those situations where we're going to look back and see if there's any way this incident could have been prevented with perhaps an armed security guard out front or nearby. That's what I always recommend in my security assessments, is an off-duty police officer guarding the premises, no matter how, martial that appearance that provides. It's something that we have to have in this day and age.
Thank you, and thank you for your service. Bringing it to you, Sandra. So we learned as much as we could about the shooter so far, many questions unanswered. Law enforcement saying today that he either has a not extensive or known criminal history. They will try to determine the motive, obviously, and it's yet as known as well whether he was a former student or employee there of the Annunciation Church and school. They have not located any casings in the building. It's unknown whether he indeed penetrated and shot within. But for now, as Bill Melugin stated earlier, law enforcement believes he took his own life with his rifle there in the parking lot. Sandra.
Cruelty beyond comprehension, I believe, is what the police chief called it earlier. Obviously, of key note is that he had no past criminal history, which obviously would bring up a lot of questions about his motive to carry out such a heinous crime and kill innocent little children. He did leave behind a car. You would imagine that investigation is already knee-deep in that car looking for anything that he left behind. I want to focus on the first responders and the police who arrived at that scene and rushed into that church where, as you heard the police chief describe, the accounts of children hiding in the corners under the pews for them to go in, and they started administering first aid and rescue missions in the church while some of those children, sadly, were probably already bleeding out. We lost 2 of those little lives, 8 and 10 years old. We now know that 17 were brought to the hospital, 9 pediatric patients at that Hennepin Healthcare. Thank God. That is one of the largest emergency facilities in Minnesota. They are in good hands, 7 in critical condition, 4 in the operating room. We pray for those children, ages 6 to 14 years old. The head of the emergency department there, Thomas Wyatt, detailing how this is taking a toll, as you mentioned, Emily, even on the staff in that building. I just want to include one firsthand account, Bill Beineman, who's quoted in the AP. He lives a few blocks away from where this all just went down. A long-attended mass at the Annunciation Church. He said he heard dozens of shots, perhaps as many as 50, over as long as 4 minutes. He said, quote, "I was shocked. I said, there's no way that could be gunfire," he said. There was so much of it. It was sporadic. His daughter, Alexandra, attended that school from kindergarten through 8th grade. She finished in 2014. She heard of the shooting while she was at work, had to leave. Her heart obviously broken for these children.
Trey, with so much here at stake for these parents, there's a lot of questions about, as Chris Swecker said earlier, the sort of sitting duck nature of all of these children together. How does the community begin to heal in the face of such tragedy as they are reeling now with such horrific violence on, as you said, the most innocent and vulnerable among us?
Well, you obviously want to track the shooter. I appreciate the fact that they have not identified an adult record. That does not mean he did not have a juvenile record. So number one, was he a prohibited person? Should he have been a prohibited person? And by that, I mean, were there mental health issues? So you want to track the shooter. You also want to track the access to the firearms. Where did the guns come from? Were they straw purchases? Did he go into a gun store? Was it a private sale? I mean, that's all you can do now because there's not going to be a trial. I mean, these parents, they want answers. Everyone wants to know why. Emily, there is no answer to the why. Nothing explains shooting at children. I mean, we could bring in the world's foremost forensic psychiatrist. Okay, he was troubled. He was bullied at school. Nothing. Well, then go do something to the people that bullied you. You picked on children. So if we are waiting on a why, then we're going to be unsatisfied. And where we direct our energies and our emotions is to the trial. And he deprived those parents of justice by taking his own life. They'll never get the answers that they wanted, ever.
In your experience, is the criminal justice system equipped to even handle these? You've seen, I feel like more than anyone has really encountered such tragic cases involving children during your career. And we've talked about the grief and the ripple effect of the parents and in the community. And in your role as prosecutor and as the pieces are taken up by those members of the justice system, what now? Our system is reactive. Something bad happens, we react to it. And what people are crying for now is, how can we prevent this? How can we stop it? And the only way to stop it is to identify the shooter ahead of time or keep the weapons out of their hands. And so we're going to have a conversation of freedom versus protecting children. I mean, how many school shootings does it take before we're going to have a conversation about keeping firearms out? It's always a young white male, almost always. I mean, did anyone this morning think, I wonder if that was a female? Did any of y'all think that? I mean, there's been one school shooting involving a female.
It was in Tennessee.
One. Yeah, Tennessee. But other than that, it is usually young white males.
But do we not already have laws on the books for these types of situations?
Like what?
Well, murder is what happened. And maybe the why is that you had a 10-year-old and 8-year-old praying in the pews. Were they targeted for their faith? We know on the website this mass is posted. And then you also look at the website. They have a Bible verse from Psalm. The Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. Just to give you an insight of these young kids, kindergarten through 8th grade, going to school and church with this in their heart, with God-filled hearts. And then we even heard from the chief of emergency medicine. I mean, look, you hadn't been healthcare. They're Minneapolis' largest emergency department. So they are used to this type of stuff. And we heard from the chief Wyatt there, the Dr. Wyatt, that this is taking a toll. And we know that a 10-year-old and 8-year-old are now deceased. At 10:11, according to emergency dispatch radio, a 10-year-old boy was transported with a gunshot wound to the head.